Throughout history, countless exorcism accounts have been recorded, studied, and eventually made public. But a small number of cases are so disturbing, so challenging to our understanding of the world, that they are sealed away, never to see the light of day. Today, we're delving into one such story, a case whispered about in clerical circles, a legend known as the Exorcism the Church classified as too dangerous to reveal. It's important to state up front that nothing in this account has been officially confirmed. Every detail we're about to explore comes from unverified reports and private testimonies passed down through the years, forming a modern legend shrouded in secrecy. Our story begins in the late 20th century at a quiet, rural parish, far from the hustle of any major city. The local diocese started receiving reports about a young adult experiencing severe and unexplainable disturbances. At first, this wasn't particularly alarming. Claims like this surface from time to time. But what made this situation different was the reaction of the local priest. He was a man of experience, yet he refused to handle it alone. He immediately sent an urgent request for assistance. His report detailing behavior that defied all logical, medical, and psychological explanations. The diocese took his plea seriously and dispatched an experienced investigative team. When they first met the individual, they were reportedly met with a personality shift so sudden and complete that one investigator later described it as like walking into a room with a different person entirely. The voice was different, the posture had changed. More unsettling, the individual seemed to know personal, intimate details about the investigators, things they had never shared with anyone. Again, these are unverified claims, but they appear consistently in every retelling of the story. The team decided to proceed with an initial rite. It lasted only a few minutes before they were forced to stop. According to the anecdotal accounts, the reaction was immediate and violent. The temperature in the room plummeted. The individual, who had a slight build, exhibited strength far beyond normal human limits. Objects in the room allegedly began to move on their own, some even flying across the space without anyone touching them. Shaken, the team withdrew and filed an emergency report to the diocese, stressing the extreme nature of what they had witnessed. This is where the story takes a sharp turn into the realm of secrecy. Instead of ordering the team to continue the rite, the diocese allegedly made a call to a much higher authority. The next chapter of this legend doesn't take place in the small parish church, but in a restricted, controlled facility. The individual was moved there under tight supervision. A new, more specialized team was assembled, composed of clergy with advanced training in spiritual discernment and what some might call spiritual warfare. According to the legend, the phenomena only escalated during these new examinations. When prayers were recited, the individual would contort into positions described as unnatural and physically impossible. When sacred items like relics or holy water were introduced, the reactions intensified dramatically. But one detail is repeated more than any other, a moment that supposedly cemented this case's classified status. The individual reportedly began to speak in multiple, distinct languages. This wasn't one language after another. This was several languages, spoken simultaneously from a single mouth. Multiple investigators later cited this specific moment as the reason the case was deemed too destabilizing, too difficult to explain to the public without causing widespread panic and fear. The full exorcism rite that followed is said to be one of the longest and most grueling on record. Some accounts claim it lasted for several days with only short breaks. Others whisper that it stretched on for weeks. The team had to work in shifts, rotating in and out as they were pushed to the brink of physical and mental exhaustion. The spiritual battle was relentless. Then, after days or weeks of this intense struggle, the final breakthrough came. It began not with a scream, but with silence. The individual suddenly became perfectly still and quiet. The silence stretched on long enough for the exhausted team to wonder if the ordeal was finally over. Had they succeeded? And then, in the deafening quiet, the individual reportedly whispered a single, short phrase. What was that phrase? No one knows for sure. None of the investigators present have ever repeated it publicly. It is believed that this whispered sentence is the ultimate reason the entire case was sealed. Some speculate it was a terrifying prediction of a future event. Others believe it was a description of something so horrifying it shook the faith of everyone who heard it. Whatever was said, the response from the supervising clergy was immediate and absolute. They ordered the case closed. They ordered all files, notes, and recordings to be permanently sealed. They ordered every witness to be bound by a solemn vow of silence. What happened to the individual? The story goes that they made a full recovery and were quietly relocated to a new life, under a new identity, to protect them from any public attention. No further disturbances were ever recorded. The specialized team was disbanded, its members sent back to their regular duties. Officially, nothing ever happened. The records state there was no exorcism, no extraordinary behavior, and no classified investigation. It was a non-event. So why does this legend persist? Why do whispers of a case that technically doesn't exist continue to circulate among those in the know? Perhaps it's because secrets born from such profound fear rarely stay buried forever. If an event truly occurred that so fundamentally challenged the understanding of even the most seasoned experts, the instinct to hide it, to protect the world from that knowledge, would be overwhelming. As you consider this story, remember that it remains an unconfirmed legend, but it also serves as a powerful reminder that the greatest mysteries often lie in the spaces between what is officially recorded and what is deliberately silenced. And if this story is even partially true, the most chilling question isn't what happened during the rite. The real question is, what was said at the end? Thank you for joining us on this exploration into the unknown. If you enjoy diving into mysteries that challenge our reality, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video.